Hello and welcome everyone to LCS Challengers League presented by Subway. We're headed into week 4, day number 2, which means we're getting ever so close to that halfway point, and with one round robin, every match is going to be critical. I'm your cast of the day, Eric Deserex Patran. Joining me, of course, is Joshua Joshi Howard, and I think you got a little of a holiday you got to bring out, you know?
We do. It is Lunar New Year for everyone, so we hope everybody has had a fantastic time, of course. Make sure you're wearing red. We might have a little bit of bias today on the cast based on a couple of our teams that will be wearing red on the Rift, but make sure you get lots of good food. It is the year of the dragon. It's going to be a good year for everyone, and we can't wait to get it started with more NACL.
Yeah, and speaking of, let's go ahead and pull up the standings so we can see how things have been shaping up, especially since we had some matches yesterday. Some of the eyes we're going to be watching right now, Wildcard, for example, 2-2, they'll have a match today. Can Mirage get out of that last place spot and get their first win? Definitely going to be some critical matches, Josh.
Yeah, and it's definitely fascinating to see some of the players or some of the teams not being where we were expecting them to be, right? Maryville and Team Liquid in Disguise have kind of flip-flopped where they are in the standings compared to where everybody had them before the season began.
So let's take a look at the schedule for today to see how things are going to shape up. We do have a pretty good match to really lead this one forward. It's going to be FlyQuest Challengers versus Wildcard right after. Again, this feels like a David and Goliath with Mirage taking on Maryville, who have been dominant in the season so far.
Yeah, we definitely have two big underdog stories coming in today. Wildcard going up against the nearly undefeated FlyQuest Challengers. They've won all of their series and have only dropped a single game, whereas Mirage, they've picked up a couple of games but are going up against one of the other teams that is currently tied for first based on the series standings.
And FlyQuest, they did bleed for the first time. Don't forget that.
They
Losing
did.
one of their games against Fear. So still going for that perfect series score. Not going to be able to find it in the perfect game score, at least. But Wildcard, this is a team you can't really anticipate. So that is definitely going to be one of my most anticipated matches coming forward.
And they're wearing red. I mean, it is their
red.
lucky day. If there's going to be a team who's going to be able to take down FlyQuest Challengers, right? Like, I don't think any team should be walking into this season being favored going into FlyQuest based on what they've showed us so far. But if there's a team that can do it, I would pick Wildcard every day of the week.
Just for the red, man. Just for the red.
I mean, yes, but, you know, it's Lunar New Year.
Hey, Shopify.
Haha. Did they? I actually did.
Yeah, they actually were on stage.
I saw their game.
Rosters.
Yeah.
Starting off with FlyQuest Challengers. I mean, again, this is a team that has been very, very hard to stop. I had a quick talk with Sajed, and he was talking about that loss they had to Fear. It pretty much told the team that, hey, you can lose to anyone here. You got to be realistic, and you can't let ego really take over. And so far, this squad's still being sturdy.
Yeah, and you definitely know that with that ego comes complacency, but this team has not looked complacent at all. While Sturdy had a bit of a stumbling block last week, he said it's because he was feeling sick, and realistically, you look at this, and almost every single role, you have one of the top players in the league in that position, whereas when we look at their opponents over at Wildcard, that's not something you tend to think of when you actually look at the roster. Not to say that these guys are anything lower than like middle of the pack for a lot of their players, but it is a spot where it's like, well, you take a lot of good players and you make them play the great players. This is going to be where the difference making is really going to come through.
Yeah, and I mean, there is a lot of potential on this roster because this is basically what St. Louis and they've been doing pretty well when it comes to collegiate space. They did win the IMT Winter Invitational. The main difference right here is Quacker is in the top role, and Doxa has now swapped over to support, which, by the way, nothing big about that one. Just Doxa said they needed to fill in the role, and he was like, yeah, sure, I like playing support. And that's how we got this roster wildcard.
Yeah, and I really kind of want to dig into a little bit on why I said I think Wildcard is going to be the team to actually take down FlyQuest. And as we get into the draft, one of the big things that we will be looking at with this Wildcard roster is every single time you have Winnie on a roster, you have a chance to win the game. I like to compare him to players like Contracts, where you look at a situation that looks completely unwinnable. You have a draft that doesn't make any sense going into your opponents, but somehow a player like Contracts and Winnie will find wins in those. And we've said this before. Yeah. Winnie likes every single fight that he sees. The whole question is he right? And he is right often enough to take down some teams that you should not be able to on paper.
The thing is, that type of attitude, it could bring you to the highest highs and lowest lows. I think we saw a bit of that when he was facing Team Liquid Challengers Kiel. He was able to outpace him throughout a lot of that series. But then you have series like yesterday where they faced off against Lit. And Winnie, his over-aggression and over, I guess, urgency to take some of those team fights resulted in very, very cataclysmic plays for Wildcard. So sometimes you can get the best, sometimes you can get the worst. It is a Winnie team, so we just got to see. And what I see right now, one of those bans coming in, they are going to be banning away that Senna. This is something that, specifically to Wildcard, if they are able to get a Senna, it opens up Doxa to play so many different champions because he has a top lane pull, he has a mid lane pull. So this is FlyQuest not allowing that to happen.
And it makes a lot of sense, right? One of the things that you always look at when go to the bans is how meta are these bans, right? And FlyQuest banning away Wildcard says, we don't necessarily think you are quite as good. We think you're a bit of a cheeser team, right? And I don't entirely disagree with them. The more you actually ban away some of these less meta picks, the more it's like, well, we don't think you guys can function nearly as well without access to these picks. And of course, with the Fearless Draft, you're just putting it off for even longer. But Surdy picking up the Cassante right away says that Quacker doesn't have a ton of options, right? The traditional answers here are oftentimes the Aatrox, but I'm expecting Quacker is much more likely to go towards something like the Olaf on this patch.
Yeah. Olaf was a big champion for him, as well as Darius. That was banned away. Mostly just ghost champions that can apply pressure. But this is against Surdy. I mean, Quacker, he might be the solo kill king of last summer, but he hasn't been able to hold that role, at least yet in this season. Surdy is a tough opponent, but now we got Smolder locked in once again. It's starting to become a flavor. This is part of what it means to be on that live patch. We get to see it first.
Yeah, I mean, we got to see it yesterday coming out with, I believe, Rock Boom was the first professional ever to lock in the Smolder. And we've been seeing it all throughout LCS to date as well. Now it's probably Aaron, but it could be Dark Wings. We have been seeing a little bit of mid lane Smolder coming out as well. But the big thing, this champion is going to need a lot of time to scale. You need to get all those stacks. You need to get your dragon practice in. And as the Smolder bucks stack up, you will have plenty of opportunity to fight. However, you are a little bit weak to the dedicated lockdown that FlyQuest is already showing, especially in the Vi.
That's what I was going to bring up right there. And Shaden is not shy to make aggressive plays. In fact, the times where we've seen FlyQuest kind of slip up has been through the over-aggression of Shaden. Luckily, FlyQuest have been able to temper that from time to time. But now we're seeing another lock-in. We're getting new champs galore as Wei is going to be locked in for FlyQuest.
It is going to be the Orianna and Response coming out for a Wildcard, and this is a matchup where both these champions will be scaling relatively well into the game, but there's a little bit more range that Quad will have for a lot of the spells, and so you will have some opportunity to bully Darkwings. It's going to be on Darkwings to try and get under all of those spells, make sure you can be aggressive in the lane, find some laning advantages there, but it's so scary right now going into Shaden on the buy. We've seen how effectively Shaden and Quad can actually line themselves up to take down opposing mid laners. Winnie has not paid as much attention to Darkwings, and rather has mostly demanded the Darkwings pay attention to him.
And alongside that, I mean, you look at the champions that are locked in for Wildcard thus far. Orianna, not the most mobile of champions. You got the Dissonance. Same thing, kinda, with Smolder. You got Flap, 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 but it's a movement speed increase, and it's if you go over the terrain. You can still get caught out by a Vi. So that's going to be one of my worries for Wildcard right now, is that Shaden can lock down a lot of these crucial targets quite easily.
It's going to be very important for Shaden to find angles onto these targets, right? Because they both have decently long range, because Smolder is an AD carry that relies more on their spells than their auto attacks a lot of the time. You are able to play a little bit further back. And it does look as though Wildcard is trying to opt into a front-to-back style of game plan, and if they go with the Xinjiao, which has been one of Winnie's favorite champions so far this split, you have a lot of tools to shut out a lot of ranged characters, meaning that the front-to-back should be a little bit better coming in for Wildcard.
And it's a good game plan for Winnie that he's used before. Seeing a Vi lock in, you can take the Xinjiao and you can actually outpace the Vi in the early stages of the game. That is what enabled Winnie to get first blood against TLC last time these two faced off against each other. But what in the world is going on here, Josh? I just saw a Vayne lock in.
I love this Vayne coming through for Sajid, because one of the
sell me.
So one of the big things that you tend to see with the Udyr is his ability to heal the longer the fight goes using that turtle stance. But Vayne actually does huge bursts of damage when whenever you get those silver bolts to come through with the Lulu, you're also going to be able to get even faster attack speed. And looking across at this, the big thing that they really need is they need a player who is going to be able to navigate these team fights by themselves. They're not going to be getting a whole lot of help from their front line. Instead, they need to find different angles, and I can't think of a better AD carry in the league than Sajid to try and find all of those minute lines in order to win these fights.
Dude, this is so risky, though, because Vayne is not that long range of an ADC, and you have a lot of threats that you have to pay respects to. Dox is going to be on you with that Nautilus. Same thing with the Xin Zhao, and of course, the zone control that is afforded by something like the Shockwave that Darkwings brings on the map. You're going to have to really watch where you're moving, what direction you're tumbling to on this Vayne.
It's true. One of the things I do like about it, though, is you are going to be able to get in under Winnie's effective crescent guard, right? You do want to be close up anyway, and so the patience from Sajid is going to be very telling throughout the course of these fights, because I really like the front-to-back that Wildcard is currently presenting, but I definitely feel as though FlyQuest has plenty of tools to actually take them down, and so I feel as though Wildcard's team is easy to navigate, but FlyQuest have so much play potential.
Yeah, as we head on to the Rift, FlyQuest Challengers versus Wildcard. I mean, if anyone's going to pull it off, it's going to be Sajid. I know he's been working a lot with the coaches over on FlyQuest, and FlyQuest, hey, they're really good at bringing up rookie ADCs. Let's just say that with Masu. So a lot of teamwork, a lot of infrastructure trying to work on the growth of Sajid, and it's always fun to see when we get picks like this hitting the Rift.
Yeah, I feel as though this is the perfect opportunity, the perfect split for Sajid to have time to grow. We haven't necessarily seen as many awesome things come out of him as I was initially expecting, but a large part of that is because he hasn't needed to. His team is just kind of winning a lot of the time, and so as FlyQuest Challengers, FlyQuest Challengers, Shaden is trying to walk right on back, but he knows there's probably people in this area. There's definitely vision. As soon as he steps out, they will know exactly where he is, and this 4-man invade is still waiting for him.
Shaden stepping forward, but a lot of caution right now. You can see even Quad trying to get some vision on one of the brushes, but it's the wrong one. Ooh, Josh, I'm not liking this for Shaden.
I mean, he knows something is up. They haven't seen anyone this entire time. They finally see Darkwings in the mid lane, and so he will be able to get his Raptors, but they saw that.
Yeah, he doesn't have Q, so he's going to have to flash over the wall if he wants to survive. And this is the type of aggressive play that we always see from the early levels of Winnie when he wants to take advantage of something like a Vi. Pulls this Xin Zhao out, and he invades.
But it costs his bot lane a lot. Not being in lane against the Vayne Lulu does mean you're, one, slow to start getting those at Dragon practice in. You don't get as many bucks. But, oh my gosh, if they get back in time, they will get back in time. Sajid in time, not denying any experience there at all. And so now Winnie, we need to see what path he does to try and shut out Shaden. It's not enough to just get his flash. We need to prevent him from farming too.
So, good timing right there to actually get back and catch the wave. Winnie's still staying on the invade. We'll be clearing out the red buff side, but look at this movement coming out from Sajid and Chime. Might be looking to potentially scope out where Winnie is.
Yeah, he's very slow on the movement, though. He will get spotted as he moves into the mid lane, and that'll tell Shaden quite a bit about what paths are possible. But I'm actually curious, because Winnie should have been able to make this cross way earlier. He did something between doing the Raptors and going to the red buff that slowed him down. And that does mean that Shaden, with this early information, might be able to try and contest him if he wants to. Or he can also go cross-map in order to try and pick up his opponent's board.
We're going to see. It seems like Shaden wants to path towards the bottom end of the map for right now. It's the only thing that's really left available. And you're not going to find much of a gank angle, at least at the immediate moment. So going down there, trying to keep up momentum with the pacing that Winnie has set early in this game.
Yeah, and with all this said and done, the fact that Darkwings, he's doing a good job making sure that he can get damage down onto his opponent with those auto tags does mean that there's a lot of priority for Winnie to play with.
All right, 11 stacks so far on the Smolder. It's not just the executes on the Super Scorcher Breath, it's also if you land the abilities on your enemies. So getting big Ws like that, landing them on both Sajid and Chime will get those stacks faster.
And we also got to talk about the fact that he has chosen to go for the Arcane Comet, right? You have a little bit more laning power, you're a little bit more abusive early on in the game in exchange for some later game damage. However, we are currently looking at them pushing in this wave, and what do you know? Winnie's not interested.
Yeah, Doxa, the hook comes in. It's a lot of damage onto Chime, but Winnie hasn't showed just yet. Coming out from behind the tower, heel's going to be burnt. And Winnie now just holding the wave as it crashes in. Only 2 caster minions, one's down. Polymorph goes in, and they're going for Sajed. Sajed's running low, but they haven't been able to take him out. Winnie might need another shot. It's Doxa who's able to just barely escape, but here comes Quad. It's not looking good for Wildcard as first blood from a distance picked up by Quad.
Oh man, the mini vision of Empire coming out from Hui, able to pick that up. It was a sloppy dive coming through. They didn't have a lot of minions, and Winnie, I was expecting him, like most other junglers, they say, hey, we're up a bunch of camps over the Vi, we're just going to take our own blue side of the map, but no, Wildcard, this is what we're talking about. This is a team that will make things happen when it doesn't feel like it's supposed to be possible at all, and unfortunately, this time, they get a lot of summoner spells, but they're the ones who end up losing Doxa.
And it's a shame, because it was a very good start coming out from Winnie. You know, the bot lane didn't really lose that much in farm. They were actually able to catch the wave in time, so it felt like it was going to be a good start for Wildcard, but blunders like that, over-aggression like that, does cost them. Now we have Doxa, who's trying to set up in the mid lane, potentially for a dive.
He does have the Hex Flash. Quad has the Flash as well, though. He needs to take him by surprise.
Oh, he's coming in a little bit slow. He's able to get the hook. Quad really playing patient right here, not even going to burn the Flash.
But still, I mean, that is a lot of health taken off of Quad in the mid lane, which does mean he can't really walk up. He will be losing at least a wave of farm, probably, especially as Darkwings gets closer and closer to level 6, having stayed in lane. And yeah, it will cost Quad a little bit of experience. It doesn't cost Doxa much of anything.
Definitely does give a little bit of pressure relief from Darkwings. Oh, look at this over towards the top end. Surdy feeling the hurt right now. Turns it around, tries to take down Quacker. Quacker 1v1 King. No more. Surdy will find the solo.
Wow, that was so important from Surdy, getting level 6 at exactly the right moment to turn that around. A beautiful play as we see another one in the bot.
Yeah, Chime takes a lot of damage. That flap takes about half of his health in the process. Sajed looking to return fire onto Doxa. Now Shaden laying prey to the bot lane.
Winnie's here as well. They know that this is going.
Here we go, another hook. They still want Chime, but here comes Shaden. He spots Doxa. Doxa's gonna survive. Here comes Winnie. Winnie, 3-talon strike, instantly gets polymorphed off of the audacious charge. And Wildcard, are they gonna over-aggress again, Josh?
Is here. He has the shockwave, but Quad is not moving yet. It should just be a little bit more damage. Quacker's here.
Arrived. Yeah, they've sent everyone down to this bottom lane right now, and here comes the dive from Wildcard. Quacker gonna lead it, grab that turret aggro, 3-talon strike with the audacious charge onto Sajed. Sajed will fall, and so will his lane mate. Wildcard make the dive work in the bot lane.
That's the Wildcard special. They bring down their top laner and then have him TP back top lane. His lane state a little bit ruined, but the fact that they're able to get both those kills might make it worth it for the rest of the roster. They are still even this, but look at how bad this trade is going.
Yeah, just careful with that one, Quacker. You don't want to bite off more than you can chew. Surdy's still taking a good amount of damage in it as Quacker tries to shove the wave forward.
Yeah, I get the sense that Surdy's also pretty chewy too, right? Like, he works out a lot. He's gotten really swole over the past year, so it's not something you really want to go for. You got to find something with a bit more fat on their bones, but this time, Quacker coming down, they give Aaron a kill, they give Darkwings a kill. That will help out equalize a lot from what we saw from Quad's early kill as well. This leads Wildcard to a position where they are still maintaining parity going up against FlyQuest, which is probably the best laning team in the entire league. The fact that Wildcard is holding even at 8 minutes into the game, huge props to them.
Here we go again. Summoners are going to be burnt. Surdy fancies himself a fight. He's burning his ghost all out. Goes all in onto Quacker. Quacker critically low. Surdy will just tear him apart time and time again. A second solo kill.
And that's part of the cost of Quacker going down bot lane. He loses out on wave position. The wave being so far pushed back is when he fails to finish off the grab here. He thought the pet would help him out. But this is the cost, right? Wildcard, they did step one. They got the dive to go off, but they left Quacker to his own devices when his lane state was ruined to make that play happen. And the fact that Surdy was able to chase him down with Ghost in the long lane is a huge testament to how good Surdy can actually play this lane.
Shout out to our observers at the same time that zoom in on the Scuttle Crab. Absolutely. Dragon going to be secured by Wildcard. Winnie utilizing the fact that the play was made over on the top side. Now trying to move that towards the mid lane at the moment. Shaden is playing towards that side of the map. We still haven't seen Void Grubs taken. There should be an angle on it quite soon.
Yeah. But it's also a little bit late, so you have to ask how much time there will be. But Quacker goes in. Like, I don't see the blue buff, but it still shows up on my mini-map, which means that Shaden must be in the bush. Does choose to leave from that, but it is another situation where Quacker needs to be careful with his build.
And Dox has been really good with these hooks. Now Aaron's mom going to come down from the skies, start burning down Sajed. Chime will be able to walk away. No kill going to be found. Squad goes for the long-range artillery onto Darkwings. Pressure being applied by Wildcard.
This is kind of what we were expecting, right? Vayne, relatively short range going into the Smolder. It should be a situation where Aaron and Doxo should have a bit of an advantage, but this advantage is a lot larger due to the amount of time that Winnie spent down in the bottom lane. And this is going to be really good for Aaron. You look at this Vayne Lulu, it was not supposed to necessarily be a lane counter pick so much as it was to be a strong team fighting core. And Winnie trying to cement that lead even further. They saw him.
Oh, he just spotted out. Shaden knows. It's going to be a 3-on-3 in the bottom lane. You don't want to take this as a dive. So Winnie trying to back out. Ooh, didn't get condemned against the wall. I don't think Sajed was able to get in range in time. So Winnie just barely lucks out to get away.
But that is the 4th time that he's come down here, right? Like, we were talking before about how he doesn't really pay attention to his mid lane very often. I think the only time he's gone mid lane this game was when he was crossing from Shaden's red buff to his own red buff at the very beginning. Darkwings has kind of been left to their own devices, and Doxa has actually ganked this lane more, but this is even more of an advantage given over to Aaron and Doxa, and instead of going for the crit build, which has been very popular in the LCS today, instead we're going for the Spear Shojin, really emphasizing a lot of these abilities coming out for Aaron, and it'll mean that the front-to-back team fight should work out really well because of the splash that he can do into the backline.
Yeah, at least Darkwings has seen Winnie. Go look at Quacker, man. That guy, you know, he's not on St. Louis, so I guess he doesn't get the attention.
Quacker saw Winnie too. It just happened to be in the bot lane.
True. He has to make his own way down there just to get some time with Winnie. But as it is right now, his time with Surdy isn't going that well. It's a 20 CS lead coming out from Surdy thus far, and already another recall. It's going to be a really painful recall, so that's why he stopped it over on that top end. He doesn't have teleport, so
also has
it's
no mana.
Brutal.
Right, that's the problem, is no mana, no teleport means you are kind of stuck. When he does pick up the one grub that might, I believe that's the only one so far this game. It might be the only one before the Herald actually spawns. But just kind of showcasing like, hey, I am topside Surdy. Can you leave my friend alone for a little while? Might help out Quacker a little bit, but he's still going to get this wave pushed in.
And not much attention put towards the grubs because it's a wildcard game. The attention's towards the fight. The attention's towards the bottom lane.
Yeah.
Grubs, they're all the way up there. That's a long distance to go. That's away from the Dragons, Aaron, and Doxa.
Yeah, so, I mean, how does killing a grub increase my kill total, Eric? It's not going to do anything for that, so we do have to take
KDA is the only stat that matters, Josh.
Only stat that matters, it's true. But now, we do see Sajid and Chime. They do have the ultimate as well, but look at the fact that they are down a level as the AD carry, and Doxa is also going to level up in just a moment as well. They see him. Did they go for it?
Yeah,
they waited. They waited.
Sajid. I mean, ooh, okay, it does get the flash out at the very least on Sajid. I thought Sajid was going to have an angle to at least tumble out from the hook, but too much of a risk. And now here comes the fight over in the mid lane. Quad just burning away on Darkwings. That's 75% of his health. Doxa over the wall. Depth charge going to be used on Sajid. Gets pulled in, rooted, and there's nowhere else to go. Aaron's mom comes down from the skies, and here's Surdy with the teleport to equalize things in the name of FlyQuest. Will Chime be able to survive? He gets away in time, and Winnie's left empty-handed. It's a double kill for Surdy. Feeds one right over to Shaden, and FlyQuest are flying high.
I mean, it looked like it might have cost Surdy quite a bit leaving the lane, but Quacker's not going to have time. By the time that Sajid gets to the top side, Quacker's going to get almost nothing for that. Surdy is single-handedly taking this game into his own hands. He has so much control. He is so strong. And this was the blind pick coming out from Surdy. This was the first pick in the entire game. And Wildcard have yet to find an answer to it.
And I'm going to state this once more. It was an absolute robbery that Surdy wasn't on an LCS team for this season. I mean, we all know what went down with that. We know how good he is, and with plays like this, like, come on, man, come on.
Yeah, he knew the dive was going to come through. It's a wild card game. Of course there's going to be a dive coming in just a sec. That's why they tried to get the flash in the first place. And Surdy coming down, just able to do so much damage, sticking onto Aaron like glue. Means that there's not enough damage to get Chime on the backside, and it is yet again FlyQuest looking for all the plays that Wildcard are going for and turning them on their head.
Still, Wildcard are able to get something back. They'll continue with the Dragon stacking. Second Drake so far. I think that might be the last Drake they get, though, with how much FlyQuest have been able to control this game and kind of scrap out these fights.
Look at
Focus
this.
Towards the top end.
Yeah, everybody from Wildcard is already here. Surdy's a little bit slow to the play, but they are bottled in. They don't know that Shaden's behind them.
Oh man, Shaden now set up. Sajed chases, gets chased onto by Quacker. Doxa trying to find the kill, and here comes Shaden. Shaden goes on to Winnie. Quad is right there as well. You don't want to get funneled in right next to this way. Wildcard starting to bunch up once again, going forward. Now here comes Surdy. Surdy wants to bring the fight. Surdy in the face of Winnie, right in the crescent guard, doesn't care. Next, going for the next one, it's going to be Dark Wings. A double kill for Surdy. You can't stop this man. He's an absolute beast, like a bulwark in the storm. He's still gonna stand. Toss them into the skies. A triple kill for Surdy. He's going for more. He pulls them right back in. It's damnation for Wildcard. FlyQuest get the ace.
It's Surdy on the backside, just taking so many dirt shots. Surdy yet again popping off in another fight. This is a domination. This was an opportunity. We said that Wildcard had to try and take down the reigning champs, but Surdy single-handedly. Last week, he had a game where he had 11 deaths. This time, he has 7 kills and no deaths. And we see Wildcard, they're trying to take down Sajid, but this is the power of the Lulu and the Vayne. How do you get to this character and how do you stay on top of them? You do not. And then finally, when everything turns around, it's like, uh-oh, Shane looks a little bit low, but Surdy's like, you are in the wrong spots. I can now take a 1v1 up against a Xinjiao who has no money whatsoever, and then instantly get on top of everybody else.
Surdy is disgusting. These were two players, both Surdy and Shaden, that were picked up from the Evil Geniuses organization. You know, with them dropping out of LCS, it did screw them out of a spot, but good God, they're fighting for it back. Look how monstrous this play was.
I mean, honestly, just really good. I think there was an angle in all of this to prevent the last couple of deaths from Wildcard. They could have continued running. The other thing, Aaron, I believe he had Mom ready to go, did not throw it into the choke point where he did about 40% of the entire team's health. Now they're trying to go for this anyway.
It seemed like Wildcard are feeling the pressure. Still able to secure the Rift Herald, but the fight might go FlyQuest's way as Dox is already critically low and Surdy's ready to bring the pain. Another one going to fall. Winnie over to the grave, trying to get away from this is going to be Quacker, but it's duck hunting season and Surdy gets a double. Dark Wings over on the top end will fall victim to Shaden and FlyQuest clean up.
The double duck composition of Quacker and Darkwing Duck not able to do anything in this one whatsoever. Wildcard falling apart, but oh no. No!
Oh, no,
Leave him
no,
alone!
No.
Pyro doesn't deserve this. Okay,
Throws
maybe he does now.
We're a little bitter right now.
Oh, man. He's still... Okay, we were talking about this before the game, too, Eric, with...
331 stacks.
Yeah, he's at 131 right now. He's got a ways to go, and he's fine. Yeah. He's got a ways to go for Aaron. He really needs to hit that 225 stack mark. We were saying... You know, the fastest you can sometimes get it is around 15 minutes. Realistically, you should be looking at it somewhere between 20 and 23 minutes. I'm starting to think that this might be even later in the game. We might be looking at a 25-plus minute 225 stack.
Yeah, it's not looking good for Aaron whatsoever. I mean, yeah, you're getting the cooldown reduction and everything to try and keep this Super Scorcher Breath going, but with how active these fights have been, Aaron hasn't been given the best opportunity to really stack up. This felt like the moment things ended in the lane and bot, we were just all over the place. We're back to back to back with fights. It is kind of how Wildcard do after all, but it's not working in their favor.
Ooh, Winnie.
Yeah, Winnie underneath the tower. This tower's going to fall, so Winnie doesn't have any protection. Needs to go to the tier 2 tower. Surdy on the hunt, able to pull him back. Crescent Guard is enough to protect Winnie, even with the Condemn.
Remember? Oh, Quad's health 25. Okay. Remember how we were talking about how Winnie likes every fight he sees. He's able to just go in and he just dashes in, but immediately has to flash out. I mean, this is the thing that I love from good teams, is calling the bluff of junglers like this. And so, FlyQuest, surprise there. Okay, they figured it out. They found Darkwings.
The Darkwings got out, cease and desist. You're under arrest, Darkwings. Nowhere else for you to go. Squad will be the one to secure that kill and go on a killing spree in the process. And this is looking surgical at this point. FlyQuest are just cleaning this up.
They are definitively the best team that we have in this league, right? We still need to see the showdown of FlyQuest versus Maryville, which will be happening in week 6, the only other team to be 3-0 currently. But this is a statement coming through from FlyQuest so far. Wildcard, this is what they do best, though. They're like, we cannot win anywhere where you are, so we're going to go to the one place we know you're not. They get a lot of money, but he got in the Rip Herald again?
Okay. I think he canceled it.
Okay.
All right. All right. That would have been a terrible decision right there. FlyQuest secure the next Drake. That's going to stop the Dragon Soul point that Wildcard were trying to build up to, so not even going to get that into their favor. They did get an objective bounty, so hey, when he got some more money, I don't think it's going to really amount to much.
Yeah, I mean, across the entire team, getting those objective bounties does help out quite a bit, but oh my gosh, this game, it doesn't feel as though anything Wildcard is doing is working, right? Like, they went for a couple of dives. The first one that they did at the beginning of the game, they got turned around. They ended up giving up Dox's life. They tried to go for another dive on a Sajid later. Sergi teleports in and gets that. They had the one really good dive that they had, right? But they brought Quacker down for that, and it immediately cost him his life on the other side of the map. So ultimately, almost everything that Wildcard has done has gotten shut down, and now they have to play the guerrilla warfare that we were looking at just there, the last thing on the screen, going for the turrets where nobody is there to defend, because that's the only way they can get objectives.
You know, honestly, I like the idea that Wildcard had, like really focusing down into the bottom lane to try and get this smolder going very, very early. The thing was, after that, once we got into the mid game, we didn't really give the smolder too much of a chance to farm. We were just fighting back to back to back, and as you said, Winnie doesn't see a fight that he doesn't want to take, and he was constantly engaging, and this is not allowing the scaling for the bot lane to Wildcard to really shine.
Yeah, in general, it's interesting watching Wildcard games because they do like drafting a lot of scaling elements because their games tend to be long is part of it, right? They tend to play longer games than most other teams because of how up and down they tend to be. It gives them some tools later on, but like you said, I mean, Orianna, not the strongest character in the mid game. You're really waiting for like those 2-3 items to come through, so your ultimate at level 16 does a ton of damage. Smolder, another character that doesn't really do a whole lot of damage in the mid game and is really hoping that the opposing team just bunches up as a melee cluster so that he can do a ton of damage. Neither of these things have been happening, right? We haven't seen a big shockwave come out from Darklings. We haven't seen a big call from Aaron's mom, to actually help out the game yet.
You know, she does have a Twitter, by the way. I bet she's watching this right now, so...
Let's go, Aaron's mom. Well, this is on you. The next time your son calls for you, we need to see all the damage that you can do to the other team.
While we are waiting on this, I did want to bring this up once more. Since this game is looking pretty done, headed into the next one, man, teams, can we just leave Senna up? I just want to see it one more time. I want to see what Doxa is going to play one more time, man. I have this quote from Doxa that I loved. I already told you it, Josh, but he said, "I'm literally the Gordon Ramsay in bot lane when it comes to Senna pairings." That's what Doxa told me. He told me some of the picks as well, which I can't reveal, but he's got some spicy pairings with Senna.
Yeah, he's cooking. He's cooking at the very least. That's the Gordon Ramsay way. You make sure you get something cool, and just make sure at the end of the day you're not the idiot sandwich. So we'll see exactly how they're able to like stack up. But I don't know. Like FlyQuest, they just seem to have the number. And I think the biggest indictment we can make of this game is the fact that Sergi first picked Cassante and is running over the game with it, right? The fact that the Udyr counter pick comes through, it has not been able to do much of anything, does mean that, I mean, the one player on Wildcard who is not part of the SLU squad kind of being left to their own devices, and so far has not been up to the task.
I mean, Quacker, one of the things we were really hoping for him coming into the season was that you would see his playstyle kind of evolve and kind of adapt more. It hasn't really been the case. Like, Cassante has always been a regular contest for him, but otherwise his best games have still been Darius, right? So that's one of the problems I've been seeing from Wildcard, is just the inability to escape that kind of just 1v1 top lane that Quacker usually always goes for, where it feels really feast or famine and can be a detriment to Wildcard.
I think it's interesting. I remember listening to my roommate Hawk, who does like a lot of like tier 3 stuff and the salty run back, and I don't know if it was for that or tier 3 tonight where he had an interview with Quacker, and I was like, why are you just like so good? Was that kind of the plan? Like, I know you're going to school at the same time for a lot of these things. Like, how do you find the time to practice? And oftentimes Quacker's just like, yeah, it's just like, I just find it a really natural thing to just want to play more League of Legends. So he is able to get in all those games in between his studies. And this is a spot where, I mean, Serdy's also going to school, but it is he the other SLU member? No. What school is Serdy at again? Oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's the other SLU member. I didn't even think about that.
It's taken us almost
It's taken us
long.
this long. Wow. We're good, Josh.
We're good. This is why they pay us the big bucks to do this. Yeah. I guess it does mean that it is just kind of a top gap. Maybe that has been some of SLU's success so far. But either way, it is Serdy taking down the rest of his classmates and teammates going over to the St. Louis University. And
Okay, I'll give this at least. Serdy is still relatively new to St. Louis, so the Immortals Invitational, I believe that was Zamudo in the top lane.
That does sound right.
Last time. And then before that, it was a lot of Doxa in the top lane.
Yeah.
Before he did switch to the support role. So Serdy isn't part of the success that St. Louis had found. St. Louis were pretty much almost interchangeably using as Wildcard at this moment.
Yeah.
But it's just something to bring up. By the way, just to update the crowd right now, we are investigating a potential bug that happened in the game. We don't have any other details beyond that, but oh, it was not a bug. We'll get more information in just a second of what's going on.
It's not a bug. It's a feature.
It's a feature. Okay, producer's messing with me. Hi, Emery. Yeah, so once we do get that resolved and settled, we'll be back into the game.
That's good. Are we chilling?
We're just chilling.
We're just talking about more about Smolder. Okay, now what do you think about the difference between the crit build and the caster build?
I don't have enough of an opinion yet. I'm still learning the intricacies of this champion. The moment he came out, even though I'm not playing ranked and stuff as much, I just went on the practice tool immediately and started playing around with him.
He's cute, at the very least. So
a lot of fun, and also it's very loud, that ultimate.
It's so loud. It is when it is louder than the casters on the LCS, it's a bit too much. But either way, I do think it is. Man. Yeah, I do think that the build that he was going for this game with the Shojuns into Leandri style of build that we have been seeing fairly often is fine, right? The big thing that you really need from this is the rest of your front line needs to be able to stand up. It needs to be able to live because you are going to win the front-to-back style team fight most of the time. Who was it that you said that Smolder is what Kog'Maw wishes they were?
Yeah, it was Kog'Maw.
Yeah, well, no, who said it? Was it Alorum?
I think it was Meteos.
On the dive. Yeah, it was the... But that's kind of the thing, right, is Smolder will win you these front-to-back team fights if your front line doesn't die right away. And unfortunately, that is a major problem that we're looking at from Wildcard. And Wildcard, for how inventive they are at finding all these different flank angles, the flangles, if you will, do really struggle to actually set up battle lines because they are such a dynamic team. They don't really play with any kind of statics that we talk about in chess.
Yeah, I never see a battle line drawn out of them. I just see a fight. Usually it's just a spearheaded fight coming out from Winnie, and we're going. That's
going.
Pretty much it. Yeah.
That guy is out of position. Oh, he had 4 friends right behind him in the bush. My bad, guys. I actually really wonder, if we will ever see teams again just be intentionally baiting with one person. Because at the professional level, you tend to just kind of respect, they're probably not dumb, right? They're probably making a reasonable decision here. I'm not going to attack him unless I have good reason to think that they're actually alone. I think that might work against Wildcard.
It would definitely work against Wildcard.
Look, it's little time.
There's no way. You just put... It kind of worked earlier in one of the fights where they were chasing down Sajid. Because Sajid didn't activate Final Hour. Chime didn't use the Wild Growth until the trap was laid. And the moment that happened, it was just oh, Wild Growth, here comes the rest of my team. Here comes Shaden, he's flanking you.
Yep.
He fell for the trap. The play's already done. They've already done the mousetrap.
They've already done. That is true. The fact that Shaden had enough time to just like sit in that tri-brush to like wait for the right moment.
He was there for a while.
Was impressive, right? That's kind of the patience that I was not used to seeing from Shaden previously, because he's oftentimes the kind of guy who will go in and out-hands people. But that is growth coming in from the player, and we will get back into the game here in just a moment. But apparently, we will find something very interesting coming up soon.
All right. Yeah, getting through our technical difficulties, we are finally ready to get back on the Rift. Again, this has been a very dominating game coming out from FlyQuest Challengers. Wildcard have tried many approaches to challenge FlyQuest in some of these fights, but some of them going awry rather quickly, and now FlyQuest, you see what it is up there in the top lane. That is a 903 Surdy who's bringing the hurdy.
Yeah. We also do see the Rift Maker completed here for Aaron, so he will be able to live for a long time. Does have a bit of ramping damage coming up as well, so there's still like some hope, but it's going to take a while for them to actually get there. And now Surdy, uncontested in the bottom side of the map, does have teleport. Wildcard are looking for a fight.
I don't know if they want to take this one. FlyQuest.
Yeah, but they do. It's Wildcard.
Of course. They see a fight, they want to take it. But the question is, does FlyQuest also want it, Josh?
Oh, yes. FlyQuest absolutely wants it. Like, that's the, haha, you're not actually allowed to do that. Illegal. And now, I mean, as they do hit the Baron, Surdy is still uncontested. This was one of the problems that I was pointing out with Wildcard's play previously. They just leave this bot lane completely alone. Basically, whenever it seems even a little bit convenient. And now Quacker coming down, but his turret's already taken half of his HP.
I mean, to be fair, those plays do work out every so often. I mean, you saw what happened in the top lane where they were able to grab that tier 2. It's an objective bounty. That's still gold acquired, but it's moments like this. You don't want to leave Surdy alone for too long. You don't want to let FlyQuest play the map the way they want to for too long, because Surdy will take that tower quite quickly. And yeah, he's got a lot of farm, a lot of kills.
The main reason why we didn't actually see Surdy go for that 1v1 when Quacker face checked him was because the rest of his team was on a backside, right? If the rest of his team had some pressure, if they had better information of where the rest of Wildcard were, you could bet that Surdy was just going to go for that solo kill, because that's how far ahead he is. There it is, third Jack Show coming out as well, and now he's super tanky. Like, I guess he was already super tanky. But there's a huge problem off in the side lane, and this has been something that Wildcard has not shown a lot of resilience to in a lot of their games at this level, and so I am expecting to see that FlyQuest will be able to get Surdy pushed up and then teleport him into the fight. It's a little chime.
Ooh, the dance right now is around Baron, but the Chime mousetrap is going to work out. Aaron's mom comes down, gets a good burn on to Chime. Here comes the teleport from Quacker. Quacker realizes he doesn't want to be here anymore. He'll walk around that pit. Over towards Surdy, over the wall comes Shaden, though he spots out Doc, so when he goes forward with the Crescent Guard, able to try and find a disengage, but it's not working out too well as he's pulled right back in by Surdy. Now Quacker, Darkwing's Aaron, only ones left alive to try and stop this Baron from FlyQuest.
I saw the interaction. I saw why we paused right there, but as we go right on into it, it is all on Wildcard. Darkwings and Aaron, they have a lot of damage, but no, they don't!
Oh, the ultimate was still up for Shaden. He takes it on a dime. And even with the Phoenix Dance burning away, you got some ranged autos. Returning fire is going to be Aaron, but it's far too late. You got the bot lane, nice shutdown, but look at the game. It's still FlyQuest.
Man, I mean, Aaron getting that kill onto Sajid saves them the Baron, but it's still a big win coming through for FlyQuest, and Quad sticking around.
Ooh, Quad. You wanted Aaron right there. Not going to find him, though. And take a look at the stacks, by the way. We're almost at that scaling moment for Aaron.
Yeah, he needs 13 more in order to get the 225. That is so key for the extra true damage burn that you do get on your Q. But watch the interaction here between Winnie and Surdy. The flash comes out from Winnie, but he is still taken back towards the rest of FlyQuest. That's what the pause was about, I guarantee you. And as we go into this, you see that Surdy is so strong. He face checks 4 people here by himself in order to try and find this fight. But watch it. It's going to come up in just a second. Surdy goes in, flash out. He's still pulled right on back. That's what the pause was about.
Unfortunate for Winnie, but hey, FlyQuest are still loving every bit of this game thus far. as they continue to take this lead and really take a dominant control of this game. Now Winnie's going to be caught out once more. Crescent Guard goes up. He is able to get a bit of a slow, but will find his way out, and FlyQuest still holding control of the Baron Pit.
That's a big ultimate as well that is burned. Now Winnie not really able to take these front-to-back team fights because he's not going to survive them. It is even more pressure being put on Aaron and Darkwings to do more damage. And Aaron is the only one. He finally crested up. Look at him. He is glowing. He is the full dragon ready to go. But it is still a very tough position for them to try and get the damage down. Even with the true damage coming through, there's enough Omni Vamp and enough lifesteal coming out from the side of FlyQuest that it will kind of nullify their basic regen.
And the fact that it's taken him this long means that he's not scaling the execute part of it as much as he would like to, because that does scale with the stacks as well. You get that percentage up higher, and it really does have a big impact with all that true damage piled alongside it. Smolder is quite the menace when he's able to stack up, but FlyQuest have done a really good job of stopping that. I think even Wildcard have done a job of stopping that themselves as well. Fair.
I mean, it is worth noting that Aaron is up 60 CS over where Sajid is currently, which is one of their saving graces, right? This Vayne has not been given the opportunity to farm to the same degree as Aaron has, and that does mean that this Vayne is not doing the same kind of damage that you're kind of needing them to, especially up against Quacker and Winnie, who now has the ultimate back. But as they take a bit more control over this Baron once again, we know that Vayne will shred this objective.
That's a very true fact. I even noticed that Sajid had fallen so far behind. I think a lot of this has been the fact that FlyQuest
he goes
up and seeking for fights. That's what Shaden's doing as he goes after Darkwings, but it's far too deep. Down comes Mom, and it will be a shutdown onto Shade, and Quacker now setting up, wants to find Quad, gets a double stun, gets it onto Chime, burning them down, ticks away. The wings will flap, and there you go, to the ground it is for Smolder, as he's able to stay up. Find 3 by FlyQuest. Wildcard have just turned the game around.
A massive throw coming out from Shane, taking that ultimate all the way through to Darkwing, and now it's just Sturdy and Sajid. They can't contest this whatsoever. This is the window back into the game that Wildcard were needing. They're getting more time to scale up, and yes, Sajid will get a tier 2 turret here, but this is so much extra gold going over to Wildcard. This rally cry Baron buff coming through will allow them to finally push and maybe even pick up all these objective bounties that are still littering across the map.
This is incredibly shocking right now, but hey, if I were to expect FlyQuest to have a bit of weakness, I was expecting to come out of the overaggression of Shade, and I did mention this a little bit earlier about how every so often he will just go forward without the rest of the team backing him, and that was one of those moments right there. A little bit of hubris coming out of Shaden, but it's a big cost and gets Wildcard back in the game.
And you saw as well, one of the big things that Quacker has is because he has been unstoppable, the only real crowd control that Chime and Sajid have that could stop him is the Condemn, but you can't use that until you see him switch off to a different ability. And so Sajid just had to run away. He could not help Quad and Chime. They get multiple extra kills on the backside of that one as well. That is Quad's first death of the game. And honestly, it wasn't even his fault.
It's Wildcard who are setting up for the siege. Look at the gold difference right now. It has shrunk to just 500, Josh. What was about 5k earlier. Wildcard are clawing back, and they set up a siege over in the top lane. They set it up in the mid lane. Surdy trying to run some interference. And that's the respect that Wildcard do have to pay, because even though they do have the lead going their way right now, there are still strong members on FlyQuest they have to pay respects to.
Yeah, Sturdy is definitely one of the big ones, but you're also seeing that Aaron, I mean, the true damage does a lot of work into Cassante specifically, because Cassante tends to build resistances more than they tend to build HP, because that's one of the big ways you get more AD when you go all out. But Wildcard, with a lot of pressure, has to give up quite a bit because Doxa has nearly died.
Recall comes out. Wildcard, Baron empowered play. They've made 2k off of it thus far, and they're happy to take the recall right now. Find the reset on the map. We still got a minute 15 before the Cloud Drake comes up. No one is at that Dragon Soul point just yet, so Dragon stacking not really on the table for either team. Gonna wait that one out a little bit more. Yeah. FlyQuest hit back onto the map. Now we're looking for their counter punch back into the game.
So, as we look at it, we got to look at Sturdy. Obviously, he's got 10 kills and 0 deaths, but the other player that I am looking at to have a big impact that hasn't had one just quite yet, Sajed still. Game of 80 carries, right? This top laner can do a lot of damage, but he will actually be countered fairly effectively just by the fact that Aaron is doing a lot of true damage. Whereas Sajed, he is going to have an opportunity to find Axe, but he needs to be patient with his angles. And so, it is going to be a game where suddenly, this could be the moment that we needed to see this young rookie that we are touting up as potentially the next Masu looking for his next angle.
Quacker shoves in a wave, or the mid lane gets chased away by FlyQuest. The rest of Wildcard are in the bottom lane, though.
It's a turret
Continued
dead.
siege down there. They're going to be able to grab that turret without issue. FlyQuest are looking for a response. The Wildcard have gotten what they came for. Now, what do FlyQuest do? They have Surdy set up inside the jungle. He might get jumped on by himself. It's a 1v4 scenario. Surdy's looking to escape. Does have his ghost burning away. Trying to escape Winnie. Winnie's able to get the 3 talent strike, finds the knock-up, all out's going to be channeled. Aaron's bomb shows up to the fight, burns down onto Winnie. Winnie now in a bad spot, but able to use the Crescent Guard to get away from Sajed's autos. Still creating ground. Quacker on the wrong side of town. He's going to take a long route back over to the rest of his teammates. Wildcard down a lot of health if they want to fight this for the dragon, but no, it will be secured by FlyQuest.
Yeah, Sturdy having to use the ghost, but he still has a teleport if he needs to get back on the map, whereas Winnie and Doxa and Quacker took way too much damage to continue going for the fight. It's so much HP coming out from Sturdy at this point. It's so much tankiness. That does mean that he's going to be able to survive a lot of these attacks. But Gold still nearly dead even between these two rosters, and FlyQuest Challengers, I mean, they've only been pushed this far once before by Cincinnati Fear, but this time again, it feels as though FlyQuest still not experienced enough to deal with some of the wild haymakers, the wild punches that Wildcard are throwing. And now, with a minute and a half left before the Baron buff comes through, we need to see some of the experience come through for the members of FlyQuest.
Do you want to take a look at the gold graph to really show the story of how this game has shaped up so far? I mean, look at that. FlyQuest, they had a very dominant lead. This was their game. And now that lead completely dwarfed down. Wildcard have fought back. And I don't know how to toggle the gold graph back off. There we go.
There you go. You found it. FlyQuest Challengers coming through. They are once again in control of the area around the pit. Having Quay does mean it's very difficult to come in through any given entrance to the river, but Surdy will be able to control another one, right? Because Quad gets there first, they can control a lot of this, but now they had to back away. There's no longer FlyQuest's turn to be around the Baron, and Wildcard love going for sneaks. As long as they feel as though they have enough vision control around it, they don't think their opponents can get there in time, they can go for it. But the problem is, they don't have a great team composition to actually do it quickly.
L4 comes in. Battle lines are going to be drawn around the mid lane. You can see getting close to 300 stacks now is Aaron. And a reminder, every 40 stacks, that's 1% more towards the execute. Really starting to build that up as Quad and Shaden set up on the sides. Crescent Guard going to be used. Blue buff taken away. As Wildcard begins to strip away the jungle of FlyQuest. As they go on the retreat, Surdy, that big, beefy front line of FlyQuest, begins to chase out the rest of Wildcard. Darkwings is separated from the rest of the squad. You can see Wildcard positioning towards the top end of the river to make sure he has a way back in. Doxa not going to land the hook. Surdy a little bit isolated, but Quacker can't close the gap just yet.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they got the blue buff actually really big, because it means that Quad doesn't have infinite mana for these siege dancing situations. Oh, look at the damage that just going through onto Chime, even though it doesn't do a lot to Surdy or even Shaden. Uh-oh, here we go!
Oh, here we go. Doxa grabs on Shaden. Shaden's okay. Same thing with Surdy. Ooh, this is real tense.
Hey, he's on Aaron!
Here comes the hook once again. Surdy's still going to be okay. Giving a lot of respect to Aaron. He can really pump in the damage right now. The Smolder is scaling. And neither team wants to pull the trigger.
Yeah, we are in full NA-Rab mode at this point. Both teams kind of waiting for objectives to spawn. The Baron is still available. There's also a Cloud Soul to play for in a couple of minutes. now, FlyQuest, they've popped the movement speed, but still not able to find anything at all. There's neither side really going for any of these interesting flanks. Nobody is moving Shaden off to the side or winning off to the side. And these front-to-back situations are mostly in favor of Wildcard for how much poke they can put down before it starts.
Be careful for Wildcard at the moment. You still have teleport available for Darkwing, so if he needs to get there in a hurry, he can. But Darkwing's Shockwave is pretty crucial to how Wildcard want to take some of these fights, maybe these choke points, try and turn this around, whilst keeping Aaron alive. You can see that FlyQuest are wrestling that control of the mid lane, trying to transfer that over to Vision Control.
Yeah, how are they going to deal with this bottom lane, though? You do need to send somebody to pick up that ginormous wave that has been stacking up ever since it took down the tier 2 on the other side. And you see a On My Way looks to be coming out from Quad. We'll be able to clear that relatively quickly and then move back towards the top side of the map. But we only have about 20 seconds left until the Cloud Soul Dragon will be spawning over for FlyQuest. Wildcard is not the only team with Dragon stacking. Haha, get it, because Smolder's stacking.
Come on. You can do a little better than that, Josh.
No, nope, I can't actually. That is the best that I can do.
All right. So technically, Wildcard's at Dragon Soul point if we count the Smolder, but in reality,
oh!
not going to be the case. And I think Smolder's about to get splatted as Shaden goes in, realizes it's gone too deep, has to back out. Instead, Quacker will be the first victim. Now Shaden, deep behind enemy lines, looking for a way to get back in.
Flash Aaron!
Vault breaker to the face of Aaron. The Smolder's caught out. Out comes Aaron's mom, but it's not enough just yet. The Super Dragon Breath will do its part to take down Shaden. Aaron still untapped. Surdy, he's gonna fall. So far, no deaths. He's got the big man on deck, but the raid boss is down as fire breathing. Aaron will take the win.
They're just not able to take down the Flap Dragon. He's 8-2-2 at this point, and they will be picking up their second Baron buff of the game. So much more powerful than the first one, but it is going to come at the cost of Cloud Soul. But yet again, we see a similar issue. Shaden's going too far forward. Even though Quacker died at the beginning of the fight, they were not able to get enough damage down. Shaden's still going for the flank, thinking the rest of his team could follow up, but Mom coming through, making sure nothing else could happen for the rest of FlyQuest. And now with the second Rally Cry Baron buff, we finally see a big lead starting to accrue for Wildcard.
Goodness. 2.6k for Wildcard right now. And also, look at some of the itemization. Aaron is getting tanky at this point of the game. It's getting harder and harder to kill him. He's got a Frozen Fist on top of it as well, so it's not just as easy as point and click. I'm going to hit the cease and desist, and we're going to take down Aaron. You're going to have to lock him down for a little bit before you're actually going to claim a kill on him.
Yeah, I mean, it takes so long to take him down at this point, and crucially, with the Orianna, especially on the team, and the Nautilus also there, you have a lot of heal being provided to Aaron. He still will not have his flash for a little while, which maybe means that Shaden can try and find something over a wall, but I mean, just going right up the pipe, the strategy that FlyQuest have had so far in order to try and take down Aaron, clearly not working his front to backs. We said we're always in Wildcard favor.
And he's going to get caught out, but not too worried. He does have the Crescent Guard. He needs to use it for an escape. Going away from his squad. Chime took a lot of damage.
They weren't even targeting him.
Still headed straight back. Yeah, he's not even the target. It's collateral damage going over his way.
So here, I mean, Wildcard, I mean, the NA works out super well for them, and Surdy, the one player who might be able to actually carry this game by himself here for FlyQuest, not showing up in these last couple fights. They have understood on Wildcard how to control him. And now they move down to the bottom side. There's only one way that they need to worry about any flanks coming out from Shaden, because he's on the opposite side of the map still.
Wildcard sieging up. When he gets pulled back in, Shaden is far away, but so is Quacker. Quad pulls off over towards that mid lane. Engage going on to Quacker to chase him away from that mid lane tier 2. While the rest of FlyQuest still on the defensive.
You also see that Quad not doing a lot of damage to Quacker at all at this point. It really is Sajid's damage that they are relying on.
Here we go. Teamfight might break out. Surdy goes on to Doxa. But again, both teams pull back. With the fishing going on as Surdy once again tries to get another knockup, not going to find it. And with enough time left alone in the mid lane, it's going to be Quacker finding that tower. Inhibitor now exposed, and Wildcard, it was a big deficit, but they're on victory's road.
You gotta see a new engage coming through. You cannot afford to let these front to backs just drag on forever.
All right, they're going on to Doxa. The only option Surdy really has going after that front line. Quacker still waiting in the sidelines. No Vault Breaker from Shaden. Down an inhibitor.
Oh.
Here comes the hook. It's going to be onto Surdy. Surdy holding forward. Going to be able to soak a lot of that damage. Wildcard not fully committing just yet. Over the wall is going to be Shaden and Quad. Ooh, they're able to find a route onto Winnie. Winnie loses about half of his health. Doxa's getting low as well. It's a battle of attrition coming through. Here comes the ultimate from Aaron. Season desist going to land on Darkwings. A shutdown found from Aaron. He's going to get kill number 1. Wildcard finding us out. Sajid goes in, tries to find Aaron. He's able to get the shutdown. Sajid clutches it out. It's a big kill coming through. Quad wants to find more though. Over the wall, both will fly, but Shaden, he brought the hands and they're heavy. Quacker runs out and FlyQuest clutched out by Sajid. Finding the assassination on Aaron, they swing back against Wildcard.
An extremely clutch moment from both Shaden and Sajid at the very end of that, because you see how much damage, and Aaron flaps his way over. Mom comes through. The sneezes come through. Surdy, it doesn't matter how tanky he is, but if he gets executed with true damage with Sajid, he runs up invisible, trying to find his way to Aaron, and every single time able to duck, dive, dodge, duck, and weave his way in order to take down that AD carry. But Shaden over the wall also looking for Darkwings, able to pick them up at the same time. Gold lead remains steady, but we finally see some moments coming through from FlyQuest that we really need. And so that should buy them enough time. But look at the objective timers for both the Baron and the Elder Dragon. I know they've been wrong a lot so far this split, but I think these are actually correct. They're spawning almost at the same time. You do not have time to go from one to the other.
Man, I just one more time with that last fight. Sajid was so clutch, Josh. Diving in that close range to take down Aaron. Getting a lot of value right there. And now FlyQuest, they want to complete it. They want to take this victory, but Wildcard will not allow them, still playing on the defensive. Yeah,
pushing them really far away. Now with the Elder Dragon spawning first, that is going to be where the play is around.
Watch out, the Uchu comes through, lands onto Quad. You can see how much damage that Aaron's been ramping up. Still though, here comes another hook. Doxa has been fishing for those left, right, and center. If he lands it on the right target, that could be all Wildcard really need to take over this game and make the comeback complete. 3K in Wildcard's favor.
20 seconds till the Dragon as well. All these red buffs will be helping out FlyQuest quite a bit as the poke does come through from Aaron. But you're seeing that the game plan has not changed for FlyQuest. They are trying to take these front to backs, and this relies on them mechanically outplaying their opponents over and over. Quad is very far separated. Wildcard is going to be looking.
And we're almost at 400 stacks for Aaron.
Oh, so God.
This scaling is starting to get nutty right now. FlyQuest need to do something about it. They need to shut down that Smolder.
He does have the flash. He does have the ghost as well. And no flanks up through. Shane's going right up the pipe.
Right forward is Surdy.
Darkwings.
Front line.
Whoa!
Pulled in. Surdy is able to get a lot of damage through. Look at him go! FlyQuest, fly, fly, fly! They'll clip the wings of Smolder. They'll take down Wildcard. They'll claim the Elder Drake, and FlyQuest take the team fight win.
Surdy coming through. He's quiet for so long, but we see the clutch that he needs to have. Shane will pick up the Elder Dragon for them, and Surdy getting the 4-man knockback in that last fight, and it means that Winnie can do nothing. He tries to clear the wave, but Smolder's not the only one with this Dragon execute. FlyQuest marching their way through 43 minutes into the game, and they got pushed farther than almost any other team has so far, but they will finally find the win going into this team.
Pushed so far by Wildcard. The comeback almost complete, but FlyQuest will shut it down in game one. And what a game one that was. We thought this was all said and done. We had a pause where we were just like, yeah, it is what it is. FlyQuest are going to win this one. Wildcard shut us up with that game, and it was that close to their comeback.
Yeah, there are two moments you need to see in this last fight. We will be playing it once again, but the 4-man knockback coming in from Surdy, and then also follows up. Darkwing's lost track of where his ball was. He gets no one. There's an opportunity for a clapback here, and it does not happen because FlyQuest able to play around it. We'll get into the replay. Firstly, again, this 4-man knockback from Surdy. He gets everyone, and crucially, he gets the little dragon. Look at the shockwave catching no one. Everybody on FlyQuest able to dodge right on out of that one, and with both damage members going down way too early in this fight, there's no way for Wildcard to turn it around. Surdy gives his life for the cause. They find this win, and a beautiful win it really was. This is why we love watching Wildcard games, man. They are so back and forth. Remember, FlyQuest started that game with a 6,000 gold lead.
Yeah, and Wildcard took that back. That is the crazy part about it. That was a wild game. Goodness gracious, but Surdy, man, Surdy, dude. He's going for the heart. He's always swinging for the fences. Plays like that, you gotta absolutely love it. We're gonna throw it over a short break. When we return, we'll get into game number 2. Let's see if it's as big of a slugfest as game number 1 between FlyQuest and Wildcard.
They said it couldn't be done. They said the world would never accept a cookie this long. Or a churro, and probably not a pretzel either. They also said, under no circumstances should those really long and delicious treats be wildly affordable. To which we said, but we already made them. And they are. Introducing the incredible new foot-long sidekicks. Get one at Subway today.
Before this guy won this, he actually won this. And now these guys, they're trying to do the same.
He's looking for the killer instinct. He's going
Basu!
in. He finds 2. He finds 3.
Basu, you are utterly ridiculous. This guy is also trying to do what that guy did. And he didn't win one of those, but he did win this.
Welcome to the new era. A toast to our champions, Disguise.
This guy played one split of LCS and then made semis at Worlds.
It's been a long journey, but I'm happy to be here now.
He's always been really good, but he finally made the comeback. Oh, and he did it with this guy. This guy won Academy, and he had some dreams.
I want to be like the best NA mid laner to go to Worlds, right?
Dokla, however, very, very low. Reinforced by the Senna ultimate, and the Pop Blossom is so awesome!
This kid? Yeah, this kid. He actually didn't win an Academy, but a lot of people thought he was good, and boy, were they right. This guy made Worlds his very first year as a player. It took him a while to get back. He even played with this kid. But then, they did all of this together.
Nobody thought they'd win LCS! Nobody thought they'd beat G2! It's time to change your minds!
You know all of these names, but do you know the names of who's next? The future of the LCS starts right after the LCS. Welcome to Challengers League.
Get up on your feet, this is a shakedown.